zifa ne batulimba ati bagenda kusikulayo abantu baffe n'ekiro natuuseyo saawa 6 ekiro nga tewali mataala bonna banyuse abantu bakyakaaba wansi bifunfugu kyanaku nnyo tewabaddewo resitule ekolebwa ekiro na misana abantu batuuse okufa nga bakaaba nga bali ku masimu balajana nawe bajjayo ng'abafudde badde bakubira abantu amasimu fenna nga batukubira nga teri ayinza kubayamba. Nagezezaako olw'emiranga gy'abantu bange okutwalayo ensululu n'ebitiiyo poliisi neŋŋaana n'abantu bange nga tuze tubeesimire kubanga abantu abasoose wedda bagamba wewabulyako nawe basima ne bakka wansi. Poliisi yazze n'abasirikale n'amagye abamu nga bali mu yunifoomu abalala bali mu leeya be bawambye ekifo era ne mukyala Nabbanja namugambye nti muswadde mwataddewo abo bakifeesi probably baagala owuninga n'okubba emirambo gy'abantu baffe. Era yabuuziza abamu nti gw'onoonya nga talina gw'anoonya talina gw'amanyine ng'agambye alinayo abantu be tubagamba abatuufu bali eno mubasibidde ebbali ate nga ku ntandikwa be bamanyi amayumba gaabwe bw'abadde kyandiyanguyizaako n'exercise tubagamba muguleewo mutwale atisita omutuuze omwo omwaso ng'ennyumba ye we yali musimewo naye gureda ze baleese zisima mpola ziba kumukumu mu nnaku tuli mu 4 tezinatambulako wadde kwota kwe balina okuyiikula okugyayo abantu bakyali mu mayumba. Tudimandinga nti abantu abo bagibweyo kale bwe baba bafudde bakwasibwa abantu baabwe abantu ne batuuka okulajira nti ate n'abafu baabwe abanunuddwa.
May the souls of the deceased rest in eternal peace.
Honorable colleagues, with that I can see the ministers are ready. They are sitting. On Saturday, the country woke up to the shock of the tragedy that befell residents of Kitezi landfill, residents around Kitezi landfill, that has so far, according to the reports I received, claimed 21 people. In the morning, the Prime Minister called me and said government would be bringing a statement which I will amend the order paper to allow so that immediately after my communication, that statement can be presented. And also I received very many colleagues, especially MPs from Kampala, Mukono, who had matters to do with the same, and we agreed that during the debate of the statement from government, we shall be able to give it enough time. So, but in the meantime, honorable colleagues, I request you that we will stand and observe a minute of silence for our departed colleagues.
There was no resources allocated towards this activity. However, KCC went ahead to identify and procure land in Dondo. This such land is used by Mukono, Kampala district, Wakiso, and some other areas because Kitezi is located in Wakiso district. So we share the landfill. Going forward, compensation, I think the Prime Minister talked about the compensation of those people, but this is still an emergency. We cannot talk about the compensation when we still have bodies down there. And we still to register all those people who are there. That's why we requested you both to come on board to assist us, tell us how many people were there and how many should we, and how many are we expecting there. Because right from Saturday, they were telling us 1,000 people, 2,000 people. That is a small area. We don't know how many people were affected. My area MP has said that there was no person from KCCA for maintenance. But you've said, as you are ending up, that KCCA, the truck was also down there. So that means that statement cannot be true. There was a maintenance truck which was on board, which was also affected. We have not talked about it because it's still down there, and when we are counting, we also say our vehicle is still down there and our people are still down there, the KCCA people. Yes. About the Chinese who are on site, right, Honorable Speaker and members, I've not seen any Chinese on site, and I cannot comment on that. Those are just allegations. Because we don't have any investor around there by a Chinese. There is no Chinese there on site.
Part of the complaint we are having on ground, true, there are so many agencies on ground. And true, we have held meetings, both with the minister, the prime minister, and so many other agencies. But one of the concerns that has remained a constant is that the rescue operations are only done during the day. From Saturday, it is even saddening that people had to die. They were buried beyond the garbage. KCCA and this government could not proceed with the rescue efforts overnight. I was there at midnight. People were still crying under the garbage. Because in the first rescue efforts, people were following up, those who were knocking up and were digging those particular spots. The police and the militants chased us away. They chased us away, and I've been telling them and the minister that allow these locals to point at their houses. Maybe when you dig there, you can save some remaining lives. It has not happened. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, these are also human. What we had is a purported condolence message from Mr. Museveni, alleging that these are encroachers encroachers near the landfill. These are lawful owners with land titles. Majority are owners of Milo and some Bibanja owners. It is very saddening to find your people being branded encroachers after being killed by the state. Who was in charge of the landfill? Under which law do neighbors owe a duty to protect themselves against actions of a neighbor? Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues.
Order, honorable colleagues, let the area member of parliament, I know emotions can run high on some of these situations, but let's listen. Honorable, you can try to conclude.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, our immediate prayer is for government to initiate rescue efforts day and night, because these are lives. We don't want to say we have lost all the hope, much as our hope has reduced. But at least rescue efforts can go on day and night. On Saturday, the minister was there and KCC and other agencies. They promised to commence rescue efforts overnight and pray to offer light. I heard the Prime Minister, the minister thanking KCCA. They brought trucks for lights. When I went to the site around midnight, the generator for the truck, the generator for the lights was not working and functional. And neither was anyone standing by to even operate the machines. We are demanding that this rescue effort must be done day and night. Equally, for a number of our people who were injured during this crisis, we heard of condolences and support of 200, now 1 million. In this country, where can you get medication with a lost wound where can you get medication at 1 million? Let's talk about treating our people fully. Equally, when it comes to
and 250 taplings. Uganda Red Cross Society provided non-food items, which includes blankets, saucepans, plates, taplings, and other items. Energy-saving stoves and also the solar lights to support the victims. The Right Honourable Prime Minister visited the site and provided 200,000 shillings to each individual, 54 beneficiaries who are currently in emergency shelter. The President provided 5 million shillings to each household that lost a person and 1 million shillings per injured person. Mortuary services and care is being handled by government, and the service is free of charge. No one is being charged for it. Owino traders under KCCA donated food and non-food items, sacks of clothes, bags, shoes, sanitary towels, matoke, and the rest. Preventive and mitigative measures, Right Honourable Speaker. Government to fast-track opening up of another landfill in landfill site in Menvu, Nansana, and in other areas which have been identified. This is still a process. A radius of 200 meters to be preserved as a buffer zone to avoid reoccurrence of the disaster, as the field has already been identified as having some cracks. So as a measure to avoid a similar incident from affecting the people, we have gazetted an area of 200 meters. The flattering of the garbage hill to stabilize the landfill is ongoing, and I speak to you now, Right Honourable Speaker. The engineers and a team from KCCA is already on ground handling that. The short-term requirements, Right Honourable Speaker. Recovery efforts are ongoing. We are working day and night to ensure that we recover the bodies. A comprehensive assessment of persons displaced and affected is ongoing. Mapping and registration of households at risk of relocation as per the President's directive. Coordination of humanitarian partners agencies are also ongoing and being managed under Office of the Prime Minister. Urgent negotiations on alternative waste disposal sites to mitigate the impending waste crisis, and the proposed sites have also been identified. A team was dispatched to go and ascertain the viability of the different sites that includes Menvu in Nansana, Wakiso District, Chitezi, the 4 acres which is still in Chitezi to be utilized, Ndungu, Mukono District, Nkumba, Chengera, Nabugabo, Abdil. Provide security for the persons at the resettlement camp. Police and the military is stationed to provide security of the people who are settled in the camps. Right Honourable Speaker, medium and long-term requirements. Hazard risk and vulnerability mapping of Chitezi landfill and its neighboring surroundings. Relocation of mapped households at risk to safer areas, to relocate them from where they are to safer areas. Valuation and compensation of households where homes were demolished for search, rescue, and recovery operations. Expeditions of alternatives waste collective sites and decommissioning of Chitezi land site. When we had quite a number of meetings, we all agreed that we will have to look at alternatives to decommission the Chitezi land site. Challenges, Right Honourable Speaker. There's been a challenge on data collection because some of the people move from outside the area and they're coming in to have themselves registered among the beneficiaries. So a team from Red Cross and OPM is managing this to ascertain the right data so that we can support the right people. And claim bodies so far at the mortuary are 2, and they're all juvenile. We are waiting for the relatives of these people to claim the bodies. We have had a challenge while executing the duty because of rain and slippery terrains, and that lowered our speed. Claims by persons from distant places who are unknown. These are people who are not able to identify themselves as relatives of these people, so we'll have to take them through security investigations before we can ascertain the facts. Blocking of garbage trucks, yet Kampala generates over 2,500 tons. Right Honourable Speaker, the community from these alternative sites, some of the leaders have been mobilizing them not to accept deposits of this garbage. But Honourable Speaker, we know that Kampala and everyday homes are generating garbage and they have to be deposited so that we don't have another problem in the city. Right Honourable Speaker, children with unknown parents were also discovered, and I want to thank the Right Honourable Prime Minister because she took 3 of them and she's currently housing them at her residence. Local leaders from other sides are stopping the garbage vehicles, and this calls for a political goodwill that we join hands to ensure that we don't again emerge with another challenge. Way forward, Right Honourable Speaker. Request for access to the contingency fund to get required resources for the emergency response. A meeting currently is being held, which is being chaired by the Right Honourable Prime Minister and the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Works and Transport to ascertain how best we can access funds to boost the operations. Reduce the fuel to manageable size and decommissioning the dam sites. As I noted earlier, the security team, and together with the technical people are on site to ensure that we reduce the heap of the baggage so that we don't suffer a similar incident since we're still in a rainy season. To procure an incinerator and adopt modern methods of garbage management, evacuate operators working. We are looking at having shifts that are more effective, that is at least 3 shifts. Another shift works 6 hours and even in the night. And I want to thank KCCA for coming in with the manpower and also providing light to work at night. Right Honourable Speaker, we have 32 acres of land that has been identified at Menvu. 4 acres in Chitezi, 14 in Nkumba, some of which is not suitable as alternative landfill sites, but they are under investigation and we'll wait for a report from KCCA because we were tasked to work together with them. Privately owned sites like in Chengera, Nabugabo, Abdil are also options we are looking at. Not yet conclusive, but those are discussions we are looking at. I, at this point, would like to...
There was no resources allocated towards this activity. However, KCC went ahead to identify and procure land in Dondo. This such land is used by Mukono, Kampala district, Wachiso, and some other areas because Chitezi is located in Wachiso district. So we share the landfill. Going forward, compensation, I think the Prime Minister talked about the compensation of those people, but this is still an emergency. We cannot talk about the compensation when we still have bodies down there. And we still to register all those people who are there. That's why we requested you both to come on board to assist us, tell us how many people were there and how many should we, and how many are we expecting there. Because right from Saturday, they were telling us 1,000 people, 2,000 people. That is a small area. We don't know how many people were affected. My area MP has said that there was no person from KCCA for maintenance. But you've said, as you are ending up, that KCCA, the truck was also down there. So that means that statement cannot be true. There was a maintenance truck which was on board, which was also affected. We have not talked about it because it's still down there, and when we are counting, we also say our vehicle is still down there and our people are still down there, the KCCA people. Yes. About the Chinese who are on site, Right Honourable Speaker and members, I've not seen any Chinese on site, and I cannot comment on that. Those are just allegations. Because we don't have any investor around there by a Chinese. There is no Chinese there on site.
Right Honourable Speaker, first of all, I want to respond to some few issues raised. Right Honourable Speaker, when we were on ground with the Member of Parliament, when I arrived and I found the Member of Parliament was being stopped, I intervened and inquired from the security. And they told me they didn't want the huge number of the team the Member of Parliament was moving with to access the areas which were dangerous because those people would also be at a risk. And that is why they were stopping him. And later on, when he talked to his team, they stayed back, he came on board, and we continued working together. Right Honorable Speaker, issues of disaster requires emergency response. And sometimes, when something has just happened, and that's why I did mention that I want to thank the locals in that area. There was shift to come in and respond. As on the side of government, we had to assemble a team because the Ministry of Disaster doesn't respond alone. The Ministry of Works came on board, UPDF and the rest came on board, and that's how we were able to execute what we did. Now, the tent that was temporarily provided is to provide shelter to those whose homes were affected.
Commissioned in 1996, and it was supposed to work for about 10 years. The range of 30 to 60 billion for both decommissioning and
Almighty God, who in infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in such just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.